Hey everybody, it's Janice here from the Anadarko Community Library. And it's Wednesday, so that means it's time for trivia. And the idea for this week's trivia actually came from the weekend edition of the Anadarko Daily News. And in her column, My Point of View, Miss Carolyn McBride spoke of a saying that her grandmama used to say to them when she was a little girl. And it got me thinking, and that's how this week's trivia comes up. Southerners tend to like sayings. They're our own little version of a parable in one or two sentences, a little lesson to teach you something, usually. If you're from here or you're from any other southern state, you have to remember, you've probably forgotten more of those sayings than you remember. There's so many, and sometimes there's more than one version because it's from a different area or a different family, and we all say them a little different, but the end message is about the same. For example, when we would ask my grandma, how come, as children, for the 832nd time, she would reply, cat fur to make a pair of kitten breeches. You want the first pair, the second will have a hole in it. Now for most people, that makes absolutely no sense, but as children, we knew the meaning of that was to hush and to do it right then. So let's go back and let's look at a few sayings and a few words that we tend to use in the South and the appropriate ways to do so. So first off is y'all. This word has been used and abused by so many, bless their heart, Northerners. I thought we might just want to set the record straight. So y'all is a contraction, it is a proper contraction of the words you and all. It always means more than one. So when someone says y'all and they're speaking to just you, you can guarantee they're not from here. Y'all's is something that y'all possess. So y'all's TV set means the TV set that you and your family own, or you and your household own. All y'all is a plural of y'all. Usually it's either a whole bunch of folks or it's just used for emphasis, such as, all y'all's gonna get switched if you don't behave. Now, a quick aside for my East Tennessee friends, Tim, Larry, Miss Jan, and Miss Tammy, I'm talking to y'all. Yuns is the proper substitute for the word y'all. So if you hear someone say, yuns need to go do this, or yuns need to go to town, guarantee they're probably from the Appalachian region of Tennessee and that area. So I just thought that was a pretty cool little difference there. So the next one would be walking in tall cotton. And this means you're very successful or wealthy at that particular moment, or at least you think you are. Okay, so the next one that comes to mind is madder than an old wet hen. Do you have chickens? Have you seen chickens? Chickens do not like to be wet, perhaps because they aren't that intelligent, and I can say this as a semi-expert on chickens. They will stand in the rain and drown rather than move 2 feet to the right or left to get out of the storm. An alternate explanation for madder than an old wet hen was many, many years ago when a hen went broody, a farmer would plunge her into cold water to cure her of broodiness, and she would come out awfully mad. So the upshot of this whole thing is, if someone is madder than an old wet hen, you better look out. Okay, another one is, he could eat corn through a picket fence. This is a description of someone with a very unfortunate set of buck teeth. It is not usually a compliment, and it's usually followed by a version of bless your heart or bless his heart. This one takes some finesse and experience to get right. Now, Southern women can drop this phrase at the drop of a hat and understand it's not always a compliment and has very little to do with religion. It's basically a passive-aggressive way of saying, you are a complete and total idiot. Depending on the tone and inflection used, this can hurt worse than an out-and-out insult. However, there are times that it is used in sympathy, and it can be quite sincere, such as, bless her heart, she just lost her mama. Amateurs should not attempt this one. Okay, we've all probably heard this one or a version of it, drunker than Cooter Brown. I'm not sure anybody knows who Cooter Brown was, but we do know that he was a drinker. Legend has it that he lived right on the Mason-Dixon line in the Civil War, and to avoid being drafted by either side, he just stayed drunk through the whole war, made him ineligible for battle. So obviously this is not a compliment, and you don't want to be accused of this. All right, let's see. The next one is heavens to Betsy. This is an exclamation of surprise. I'm not sure who Betsy was. I just remember hearing this a lot as a child. Not so much these days, but when I was a kid, it was used quite a bit. Okay, this is the next one. How you? Now this is our shorthand for how are you. Always remember this is a greeting, not a question. Ponder that for a bit. My grandmama used to say, don't tell folks your problems. Half of them don't want to hear them, the other half think you deserve them. So when someone says how you, the correct answer is, I am fine as frog's fur. Or finer than frog's fur, split both ways. Now I tend to say fine as frog's hair, but it can be either one. And basically the meaning is, I am just fine and dandy, thank you for asking. Okay. This one's pretty self-explanatory, hush. The thing is, it is so much nicer than shut up. It's such a nice poetic ring to it. And we were never allowed to say shut up as kids. That was akin to cussing, and it was just a no-no. I'm glad to say that is one tradition that I have carried on with my family. To say shut up, it just sounds nasty. So, the next one will be ma'am and sir. This is the appropriate word to use following yes or no to any adult, such as yes ma'am or no sir. An accompanying rule to this one is that any male or female older than you or in a position of authority is addressed using Mr. or Ms. in front of their name, such as Miss Teresa and Mr. Sean work at the library. Now see how that works? Sounds very nice, very respectful. All right, yonder. I have no sense of direction. I'm happy to admit it. Everybody that knows me knows that. So when you ask me where something is, I'm going to say it's yonder, which means it's over there, wherever there is. And tacky. Tacky can refer to how you behave, how you look, or how you speak. Whatever it's referring to, you don't want it. So this is about as ugly as Southern folks want to get in their speaking. For example, girl, she was so tacky to her mama. And that's 2 strikes against whoever she is. First, she's tacky, and second, she's directing it toward her mama. 2 things you just don't want to do. So that's the end of today's trivia and my trip down memory lane. It pains me that more and more regional patterns of speech and accents are just not heard that much, especially in the younger generations. And I contend that it's because of all of the media that they're exposed to. Everyone kind of develops a homogenized language or accent. So I think that's pretty sad. I love accents, and it's just, it's one of those things that as time marches on, we tend to be losing. So let's appreciate them while we can, and if you have any sayings or any fun words that your family used, send them in. We'd love to hear them. Thank you. Have a good week. Bye-bye.